I know I'm about a week late to give you guys a review of this movie after it's been released, but I really wanted some time to sit with my thoughts. Here we go. This is a direct sequel to Captain Marvel. It's a indirect sequel to WandaVision, as well as a indirect sequel to Miss Marvel. There are a lot of interweaving stories in this movie, but primarily it does focus on the stories between Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel. The story itself follows these three individuals as they come to find that their powers are somehow interlinked. All the while, there is a villain stealing resources from other planets, and our three heroes have to team up together to stop them from destroying other planets. I will say it was a little difficult to give you a synopsis of this film, and that is a perfect representation of initially my first thoughts after I walked out of the movie. I will say off the bat that Brie Larson, Imani Vellani, and Teyona Paris worked amazing together. Anytime they were on screen, it was a fun time. They were really interesting to watch. Having said that, I will say that this story will play better if you have seen those prerequisite shows that I did mention, especially the first Captain Marvel movie. It's not necessarily required. There are parts of this movie that have like flashbacks or character build up, and so you get a little bit of that, but it's not really fleshed out. And I will say that some of the flashbacks kind of seem like there was a movie missing between Captain Marvel and this one, specifically in relation to Brie Larson's character. For the character of Dar-Benn, who is the main villain of the film, she has certain motivations that puts her at odds with Captain Marvel. I didn't really care for a lot of the stuff that was happening, and maybe I would have cared if there was a movie put out before this one that was an actual direct sequel to Captain Marvel, and it included this villain in it. But just there wasn't a whole lot of time to sit with some of the character choices and actions in this film, because again, this movie does clock in at about an hour and 45, which I think makes it the second or the actual shortest MCU movie to come out, which isn't fine because an hour and 45 minutes is a good amount of time for a movie. But I think that this movie does a bad job with lingering in some scenes that can be shorter and then moving too quickly in other scenes that should have been fleshed out. You may have heard this already from other people, but there are a couple of scenes in here revolving singing and another scene revolving cats. I enjoyed the scenes with the cats. That wasn't at all what my concerns were. The singing, I think it was a gimmick that didn't play well for me, but again, wasn't too bad of a like it didn't turn me off. What turned me off with this movie was the continuity of certain character choices, and it just didn't really it didn't make me care for the characters in the movie. A good example of this, now I don't know if this has to do with the way that Marvel is releasing these movies and shows, but Nick Fury's character, complete different person from who we saw at the end of Secret Invasion. Now I know I've heard that Secret Invasion was supposed to come out after the Marvels. Well, if that was the case, why didn't it? Like, really, like, why would you, when you know a character is so different, like development wise from one show to a movie, and you're wanting all of these to be connected, why in God's green earth would you release it the way you did, knowing that people will watch anything you put out? I don't like what they did with Nick Fury. He was just kind of a character in this movie that did not need to be there. Very useful, just kind of sat in the sidelines and just commentary just for commentary's sake. Whatever. I didn't like him. Having said that, though, I will say Miss Marvel does steal the show. I think she has the most screen presence in a movie that's supposed to be Captain Marvel's sequel. So this movie does have one mid-credit scene. There is a small little scene at the very end of the movie that people aren't counting as a post-credit scene because it happens before the credits roll. That I thought was really cool. It was kind of a gimmick, but I enjoyed it. And then there was an actual mid-credit scene that's supposed to propel the MCU as a whole moving forward. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna spoil what it was. I enjoyed it for what it was, um, but again, it doesn't change what people already know of what's gonna happen next, especially with the next slate of Marvel movies to come out in 2024 and then 2025. It it does its job, but I don't think you should see this movie just to see the post credit scenes. I think if you want to see this movie for what it is, to follow up on these three main characters, definitely do so because, like I said, this movie was really their story, and I enjoyed seeing them three together when they were together, their interactions. But as a overarching story from start to finish, just with the stuff that was happening around them, I did not like at all. Anyways, sorry that this one's just a bit of a bummer. It's just how I feel after a week of sitting in and thinking about my actual thoughts of this movie rather than my immediate reactions. Um, have you guys seen this movie? If you have, please comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. If you haven't, go check it out. I don't want to ever hinder somebody from watching a movie, um, because I think that it's really up to everybody's opinion on what a movie means to them and if it's good or bad. There are some technical things that can identify a movie as good or bad, but as a story, that's up to you to decide. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Please remember to like and subscribe. We are trying to reach 100 subs, so let's get there. All right, catch you guys later.